Let me tell you what nobody in the White House apparently thought to ask before they started bombing Iran. What happens next? Not the military part. Not the 6-day war fantasy they sold to Trump over dinner at Mar-a-Lago. The part after. The economic part. The part where Iran, a country that has been preparing for this exact moment for 20 years, starts pulling levers that the people around Donald Trump didn't even know existed. Because here is what is happening right now while the administration is busy taking victory laps. 1 in 10 of the world's oil tankers is trapped in the Persian Gulf. Right now, today. Goldman Sachs is projecting oil at $150 a barrel, possibly $200. The Strait of Hormuz, the narrow choke point that 20% of the global oil supply passes through every single day, has been deliberately slowed down, not shut off completely, slowed. And that distinction matters more than most people realize. Iran doesn't need to flip a switch. They need to create chaos. And chaos, it turns out, is something they are extraordinarily good at. Here's the part that should terrify every working-class American who voted for Trump because he promised to bring prices down. The supply chain is not an on-off switch. You can't bomb Iran on a Tuesday and expect oil to flow normally by Friday. When production gets disrupted in that region, when tankers get rerouted, when refineries get hit, it takes 3 to 6 weeks minimum to get output back to where it was, sometimes longer. And everything that comes through that strait, oil, sulfur, fertilizer, aluminum, a whole cascade of commodities, the global economy depends on all of it, is getting squeezed right now. The man on the street in Ohio driving a truck to work is about to feel this. The family in Texas heating their home with oil this winter is about to feel this. Trump's base, the people he said he was fighting for. They are the first ones who get crushed when energy prices spike. And Trump is posting on Truth Social that oil prices going up is a very small price to pay. All caps. Let that breathe for a second. The president who ran on cheap energy, who made drill baby drill his economic mantra, who told working Americans he was going to lower their costs, is now telling them that watching their gas prices explode is fine, actually. Worth it. Only fools would think differently. But here's what makes this so much worse. Iran knew this was coming. They have been building the counterplay for 2 decades. While the people around Trump were pitching him on a clean 6-day military operation, Iran was executing an economic strategy that Washington never even modeled. Start with the petrodollar. For decades, oil has been traded in US dollars. That arrangement gives America enormous structural power over the global economy. Iran is now accelerating deals to sell oil in yuan, in rubles, in rupees, through back-channel networks that bypass the dollar entirely. Every barrel of oil sold outside the dollar system chips away at American financial dominance. Iran is not doing this randomly. They are doing it deliberately, systematically, and right now with maximum urgency because the conflict gives them the perfect cover and the perfect motivation. Then add the cyber dimension. Iran has its own elite cyber unit equivalent in many ways to Israel's Unit 8200. They have previously targeted Saudi Aramco. They have gone after American banks. And right now, they are attacking the SWIFT financial messaging system and targeting the energy grid across the Gulf. The desalination plants, the infrastructure that provides drinking water to tens of millions of people in the region, are reportedly under threat. If those go, you are no longer talking about an economic crisis. You are talking about a humanitarian catastrophe on a scale that makes the military conflict look manageable by comparison. This is asymmetric warfare applied to finance. Iran cannot beat the United States in a conventional military confrontation. They know that. They are not trying to win the war. They are trying to make the war expensive enough that the American public demands an exit before Iran breaks. And history, if anyone in this administration had bothered to read it, suggests that strategy works. Think about the Republican coalition fracturing in real time. You have isolationist Republicans, the America First crowd that Trump built his movement on, who want out of this conflict immediately. And you have the conservative hawks who apparently learned nothing from Iraq and want to finish the job in Iran. These two wings of the party are now pulling in opposite directions, and Trump is stuck in the middle holding a conflict that has no clean exit and a price tag of somewhere between $900 million and $1 billion a day that he does not have in the budget. He is going to have to go to Congress for that money. The same Congress where Tommy Tuberville, a Republican senator, Trump's own ally, went on television this weekend and said he hoped they had planned for having enough missiles when they started this. Not confidently, hopefully, as in, I'm not sure they actually did. That is where we are. A Republican senator is publicly expressing doubt about whether this administration planned for basic military logistics before starting a war. And Hegseth is out here saying this is not a politically correct war, and none of the rules of law apply, which is the kind of thing you say when you have no strategy and you want people to stop asking about one. Here is the core irony of all of this, and it is almost too perfect to be real. Donald Trump, the self-proclaimed greatest dealmaker in history, the transactional genius, the man who says he thinks in terms of leverage and angles and wins, walked straight into a trap that Iran spent 20 years building. He wanted cheap oil. He triggered the most expensive energy shock in a generation. He wanted to project American strength. He handed Iran the justification to accelerate petrodollar bypass deals that weaken American financial dominance for decades. He wanted a quick military win. He started a conflict with no budget, no exit strategy, and a coalition fracturing publicly in real time. There is nobody in that room saying wait, nobody asking what the countermove is, nobody who has read the history of asymmetric economic warfare and thought to mention it before the bombs started falling. The people who were supposed to be in that room doing that job, experienced national security professionals with institutional knowledge and the credibility to push back, were systematically removed, replaced with loyalists. People who tell the president what he wants to hear instead of what he needs to know. And now America is 1 week into a conflict it didn't budget for, against a country that has been preparing the economic counterattack for 2 decades, with an energy market that is tightening by the day, a financial system under cyber assault, and a domestic political coalition that is already starting to crack. Iran does not need to win this war. They just need to make it expensive enough that the American public demands an exit. They have done this math. They have run this calculation. They have been running it for 20 years. The question now is how long it takes the administration to realize that the 6-day war they were sold at Mar-a-Lago is not the war they are actually fighting, and whether the American economy and the working class voters who trusted Trump to protect it can survive long enough to find out. Subscribe, because week 2 just started, and based on week 1, we have no idea where this ends.